Hi, I'm Fatima.
And I'm Lucas.
And this is WABC News. Today our friends are going to share some fun facts about the 1990s.
Have you ever wondered what cell phones looked like in the 90s?
Yeah, let's hear from CJ who's got the scoops on 90s technology.
Thanks, Fatima. Have you ever wondered what technology was like in the 1990s? It was very different from today. Computers were getting more popular, but not many people used the internet yet. Cell phones were big and very expensive. One of the biggest inventions was the World Wide Web. In December 1990, Tim Tumberly helped create it, and it changed how people used computers. Before that, there was something called the Geographical Protocol, but the World Wide Web became much more popular. In 1990s also brought other cool inventions like smartphones, digital cameras, and better ways to search the internet. The internet was, even though technology back then did not advance as today, it helped create things that we use now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, CJ. I bet that cell phone was bigger than my head.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Did you know rap music was super popular in the 1990s?
Yes, let's hear from Liam about one of the biggest rap songs of the decade.
Thanks, Fatima. In 1995, a rapper named Coolio released a song called Gangsta's Paradise, and it quickly became one of the most popular rap songs of all time. The song had a serious and powerful message to about the struggles of life in dangerous neighborhoods. One thing that makes Gangsta's Paradise stand out is its music. Coolio used a slowed-down version of a song called Past on Paradise by Steve Wonder, adding rap lyrics and a choir to give it a dramatic feel. The mix of rap and singing made this song sound difficult in other hip-hop songs at the time. The lyrics described the hardship of growing up in tough areas where violence and poverty made life difficult. In the first line, Coolio even uses the words from the Bible, "As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." This makes the song feel emotional and deep, like a personal story. Because of its strong message and unique sound, Gangsta's Paradise won several awards in 1996. It won a Grammy Award for Best Rap Solo Performance. It also won 2 MTV Video Music Awards, including Best Rap Video. Years later, in 2008, VH1 ranked it as one of the 100th greatest hip-hop songs. Even though songs came out nearly 30 years ago, people still listen to Gangsta's Paradise today. Its message and music continues to make an impact, proving that some songs never go out of style. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Liam. I should listen to that song later.
Yeah, me too. Sounds awesome. Do you like football?
Yeah, kinda.
One of my favorite teams is the San Francisco 49ers.
The who?
Let's hear from CJ about the 49ers' great season in the 90s.
Thanks, Lucas. Today we're taking a trip back in time to one of the biggest Super Bowl wins ever. The 49ers had an amazing season in 1989, winning 14 games and losing only 2. But the real excitement happened on January 28, 1990, when they played in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. And guess what? The 49ers dominated the game. They won with a huge score of 55-10. One of the biggest Super Bowl wins ever. The star of the game was Joe Montana, the team's QB. He threw for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns. That means he was throwing the ball perfectly and helping his team score again and again. No wonder he was named the game's MVP, with chance for most valuable player. This win was super special because it was the 49ers' 4th Super Bowl victory. It showed the world that they were the best team in football at the time. That's it for today's sports. Stay tuned for more fun sports stories. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, CJ. Now I know much more about the 49ers and their big win.
Speaking of sports, here's Logan with the scoop on WWF wrestling in the 90s.
Good evening, wrestling fans. Today we're taking a trip back to 1990 when WWF, known as WWE, was the biggest thing in wrestling. That year, WrestleMania 4 was a huge event. The main match featured Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, and in the end, the Ultimate Warrior won the championship. Fans were shocked and excited to see this big moment in wrestling history. WWF has the most famous wrestlers of all time, like Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and Triple H. These superstars were also in a popular WWF game that let fans play as their favorite wrestlers. One of the biggest names in wrestling was Macho Man Randy Savage, whose real name was Randy Mario Poffo. He started in WWF in 1985 and became famous for his colorful outfits and his catchphrase, "Oh yeah." Sadly, he passed away on May 20th, 2011, but he is still remembered as a wrestling legend. Over time, WWF became WWE, and many of these wrestlers got older and retired. Some, like Triple H, now help run WWE. Even though they don't wrestle anymore, their impact on wrestling will never be forgotten. If you love wrestling, check out old WWF matches to see how WWE became what it is today. That's all for today's news. Back to you in the studio.
John Cena is the best wrestler.
I don't know. I think Macho Man is way better. Anyways, do you like movies?
Yeah, I do.
Then let's hear from Ava, who's going to tell us about some great 90s movies.
So grab your corn and pop it, and let's check it out.
Thanks, Lucas. Today I am going to talk about some movies from the 1990s. There are a lot of great movies during this time, and I will tell you about 3 of them. One movie is The Parent Trap. It is about 2 twin sisters who don't know they are twins until they meet at camp. One twin, Annie, is from London. The other twin, Hallie, lives in a place called Napa Valley. When they find out they are sisters, they decide to switch places to meet the parent they never knew. Another popular movie is Mrs. Doubtfire. It is about a man who is very funny and can talk in different voices. After he gets divorced, he wants to spend more time with his kids, so he dresses up as an old woman and becomes their babysitter without them knowing it's really him. The last movie I want to talk about is My Girl. This movie is about a girl who has a best friend that is a boy. One day she loses her ring in the woods. Her friend goes to find it for her, but while he is looking, he gets stung by bees and sadly dies. Even though she is very sad, she still gets her ring back in the end. These are just a few movies from the 1990s. There were many more, but these are some of the most popular ones. Back to you in the studio.
Those are some great movies.
They sure are. Now let's hear from Fatima with the report on 90s fashion.
Thanks, Lucas. Fashion from the 1990s is still popular today. Many styles from that decade have made a comeback, and people love how comfortable, stylish, and unique they are. One of the most popular trends from the 90s is baggy jeans. These loose and comfortable jeans are still a favorite for many people today. Crop tops also were also a big trend in the 90s, and they continue to be fashionable now. Another popular item is cargo pants, which are loose-fitting pants with lots of pockets, making them both stylish and useful. Other 90s fashion trends that are still popular include straight-leg jeans, overalls, biker shorts, bucket hats, and flannels, and more. These styles continue to be worn by people of all ages. The colors and patterns of the 90s fashion were very trendy. Many pants came in dark colors like deep red, dark plum, forest green, and dark brown. Shirts often match these colors, but could also be different, could be lighter with pastel or neon shades like neon pink and neon yellow. These bright and bold colors made outfits stand out. The 90s had many different fashion styles, from casual to chic to bold and edgy. One expert described 90s fashion as a move towards minimalism and casual chic with grunge, hip-hop, and pop culture heavily influencing trends like slip dresses, oversized clothing, and graphic tees. I think 1990s fashion is one of the best. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, that was a great story.
Thanks, Lucas. Now let's hear from Lucas about 90s music.
Thanks, Fatima. The 1990s was an exciting time for music. 2 types of music that we love today, pop and rap, became really popular during this decade. Many songs from the 90s are still played today. One famous song is Thunderstruck by AC/DC. This rock song was released in 1990 as part of their album The Razor's Edge. Many famous musicians became stars in the 90s. Three well-known artists from this time are Aerosmith, the Notorious B.I.G., and Bon Jovi. Aerosmith was the first hard rock band to perform at the Super Bowl. The Notorious B.I.G.'s real name was Christopher Wallace, and his parents were from Jamaica. Bon Jovi won their first and only Grammy Award in 2006 for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals. Another big part of the 1990s music was R&B, which stands for Rhythm and Blues. R&B music was everywhere in the 90s. It was played on the radio, seen on TV, and even influenced fashion. Two popular R&B artists were Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey, who had many hit songs. Music from the 1990s is still loved today by many people. What's your favorite song from the 1990s? Back to you in the studio.
That was amazing. I should probably listen to a 90s playlist after this.
Same here.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, my name is Casey.
And I'm Abel.
Welcome to WMFT 80s News.
Today we'll be talking about some exciting things from the 80s.
First up, Jaden will tell us all about 1980s technology.
Thanks, Casey. Hello, my name is Jade, and today I'm going to tell you about some cool technologies from the 1980s. One of the biggest inventions was the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, which was the first mobile phone. It came out on September 21st, 1983. It was big and bulky, but it was the start of mobile phones. Another important invention was the IBM PC, which was one of the first personal computers. It was made on August 12, 1981. This was a big deal because it made computers more common for people to use at home. Even though tablets are popular today, the first tablet, called the GridPad, wasn't made until 1989, so it was at the very end of the 1980s. The first digital watch of the 1980s was the Casio AQ500, which was made in 1982. It was one of the first watches to combine digital and analog time. I don't know how people use all this cool old technology, but I think it's really cool. That's all for today's news about the technology from the 1980s. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, 80s tech was awesome.
Yeah, the inventions were so cool.
Jen did a great job.
I agree. Now let's hear from Logan. He's going to talk about Michael Jackson in the 80s.
Thanks, Casey. Get ready to moonwalk back in time as we get to talk about one of the greatest entertainers in history, Michael Jackson. Michael wasn't just a singer, he was a legend, born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. He became famous for his incredible dance moves and catchy songs. He even created the most famous dance move of all time, the moonwalk. Nicknamed the King of Pop, Michael ruled the music world in the 1980s and beyond. People all over the world couldn't get enough of his music. Some of his biggest hits include Billie Jean, Beat It, and Smooth Criminal, songs that are still popular today. But Michael wasn't just about music. He was also a kind-giving person. He helped charities, donated to hospitals, and wanted to make the world a better place. Sadly, Michael Jackson passed away on June 25, 2009 at the age of 50. But his music, talent, and impact live on forever. His songs still make people dance, and influence can be seen in artists today. So next time you hear a Michael Jackson song, don't forget to turn it up, sing along, maybe even try a moonwalk. Back to you in the studio.
That was a great story. Michael Jackson was such an amazing singer and definitely a legend.
Yeah, Logan gave us some great information.
Now let's hear from Sayla. She'll be telling us all about 80s lacrosse.
Thanks, Casey. Did you know lacrosse is one of the oldest sports in the world? It is a fast game played with a ball on a stick. Players have to be quick and strong to run up and down the field. Lacrosse became really popular in the 1980s, and people still love to play it today. Lacrosse sticks used today look much different from the ones used in the 1980s. Women's lacrosse is an exciting sport in the 1980s. Temple University had one of the best women's lacrosse teams in 1982. They won their first national title in the AIA for women. They were one of the top teams of that time. Lacrosse is a fun and fast-paced game. Do you think you would like to play lacrosse? Back to you in the studio.
Whoa, I didn't know lacrosse was one of the oldest sports in the world. That was really interesting.
So cool.
Now it is my time to share. I'll be talking about 80s music.
I can't wait.
Thanks, Casey. Hello, my name is Abel, and I'm reporting on music from the 80s.
The 80s was a great decade for music, with many famous bands and artists. Some of the most popular include Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and Michael Jackson. Motley Crue is known for exciting rock songs like Kickstart My Heart. Metallica is also a very popular band with many famous albums and songs. Michael Jackson was one of the biggest stars of the 80s. He had hit songs like Thriller and Beat It, which are still popular today. Another well-known artist is Weird Al Yankovic, who made funny parodies of famous songs. One of his most popular parodies was Another One Rides the Bus, based on the song Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. Other famous songs from the 80s include Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne and Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. Many great songs were released in the 80s, and people still love to listen to them today. Back to you in the studio.
I think I'm going to start listening to more 80s music.
That was fun. Now Casey's going to tell us about 80s fashion.
Thanks, Abel. Fashion in the 1980s was bold, bright, and super fun. One of the biggest fashion icons of the 80s was a singer named Madonna. She was known for her cute and unique style, which included statement t-shirts, leggings, and lots of bright colors. Many people looked up to her and copied her fashion choices. Fashion in the 80s included lots of different trends. Girls often wore leg warmers, dresses with padded shoulders, and tights made of stretchy fabric, called lyrica. One of the most popular kinds of shoes were called jellies, which were made from PVC plastic. Other trendy shoes included Reebok pumps and Air Jordan, which were high-top sneakers. Boys in the 80s had their own cool styles too. They wore jeans, leather jackets, and tracksuits. For shoes, Converse sneakers were very popular. Hairstyles were also a big part of 80s fashion. Boys often had mullets, feathered hair, or slick-back styles. Girls' hairstyles in the 80s were all about volume. Many girls got perms, teased their hair, or crimped it to make it look big and fluffy. Popular styles included shag cuts, big curls, high ponytails, and voluminous blowouts. Makeup in the 80s was just as bold as the clothing. People wore bright neon eyeshadow, heavy eyeliner, and vivid lipstick colors like fuchsia and plum. They also liked dramatic blush and fluffy eyebrows. The 1980s was a time of fun and colorful fashion. Many of these styles are still remembered and sometimes even come back in style today. Back to you in the studio.
Casey, that was awesome. You really know your fashion.
I learned a lot while researching it.
Now let's hear from Cotter. He's going to talk about baseball in the 80s.
Thanks, Abel. Have you ever wondered what the Red Sox were like in the 1980s? In 1981, Fenway Park got a big makeover. They added a roof to the grandstands and even put in fancy luxury seat. Tickets were pretty cheap compared to today. You could sit on bleachers for just $4, while field seats cost $14, and grandstand seats were $9. Even food at the ballpark only cost $10 to $12. The Red Sox were really exciting to watch in the 1980s. They played all their home games at Fenway Park and had some amazing players. Wade Boggs and Dwight Evans were two of the most famous players. One of the best moments for the Red Sox in the 80s was when they won 12 games in a row. Fans at Fenway Park must have been so excited. Baseball sure was awesome in the 1980s. Back to you in the studio.
That was such an interesting story.
I had no idea the Red Sox won that many times in a row.
And last but not least, Colin will tell us about video games in the 80s.
Thanks, Casey. The 1980s were a golden age for gaming, bringing us some of the most iconic games of all time. One of the biggest hits was Super Mario Bros., which introduced the world to Super Mario and went to sell over 40 million copies. Another classic, Tetris, might look simple, but it's one of the most challenging and addictive games ever made, and people still love playing it today. Of course, who could forget Pac-Man? Almost everyone has played this legendary game, guiding the little yellow character through a maze while avoiding ghosts. The arcades were also packed with hits like Space Invaders, a game where players defend the Earth from an alien invasion. Meanwhile, adventure lovers were drawn into The Legend of Zelda, a game that kicked off one of the most popular gaming series in history. All of these games had one thing in common. They helped make the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, the best-selling console of the decade with over 60 million systems sold. Even today, these games are still loved by fans around the world, proving the 80s were one of the best times in video game history. Back to you in the studio.
I didn't know the NES was the best-selling console at the time. That was really cool.
Yeah, and my favorite part was learning that the biggest hit was Super Mario Bros.
Everyone did an amazing job. Shout out to Jaden, Sailor, Logan, Connor, Colin, Casey, and me for putting this together. Thank you for listening to WMFT 80s News.
Welcome viewers at home to WMTS 1970s News. My name is Emily.
And I'm Bree. We'll be hosting your show today in time traveling back to the 1970s. So grab your bell bottoms and come along for the ride.
Today we have some great reports lined up for you. First we have Anna with fashion,
Ari with hurricanes,
Bree with soccer,
Emily with movies,
Gianna with nursing,
Maudie with video games,
and Liam with music.
I'm so excited to hear about the 1970s.
Me too. Let's jump right in. First up, we have Anna telling us about fashion.
Thanks, Emily. Did you ever wonder what was trending in the 1970s? The fashion of this decade was bold and unique. Some of the most popular clothing items were bell-bottom jeans, big floppy hats, and crop tops. Bell-bottom jeans were pants that got wider from the knee down. Big floppy hats had wide brims that helped protect people from the sun. Crop tops were short shirts that didn't cover the stomach. The 1970s was a decade full of big, voluminous hairstyles. Hair was often teased, layered, and full of body. Some popular styles included frosted tips, where the ends of the hair were dyed a lighter color, and ombre hair, where the color faded from dark to light. Makeup in the 1970s was just as bold as the fashion. People loved colorful eyeshadows in shades of blue, green, purple, and earthy tones. They also wore dramatic eyeliner and often paired it with a nude lip color. The 1970s had a unique and unforgettable style. How do you think the fashion back there compares to today? Back to you in the studio.
Wowzers, I never thought of fashion that way.
Me neither.
My favorite were big floppy hats. They look so silly.
Mine are bell bottoms. It's so cool.
Anyway, did you know that there was a huge hurricane in 1970?
No, I actually didn't. But thanks to Aria, she is here to tell us about it.
In 1970, something bad happened. Hurricane Celia hit Texas, and it was a huge disaster. A lot of places got destroyed, and sadly, 15 people lost their lives. People say it was the most expensive storm to ever hit Texas at the time. What does that mean? Well, I tried looking it up, but even Google doesn't have all the answers. Anyway, Hurricane Celia wasn't done yet. On Labor Day, it hit Arizona too. It rained so much that there were huge flash floods. Some streets got so deep it was like the Mariana Trench. Okay, maybe not that deep, but still bad. So where did this huge storm come from? Well, it started as a little tropical wave in the Caribbean Sea. It turned into a full-blown hurricane on July 31st, 1970, and it didn't calm down until August 5th. Luckily for us, most of it stayed over the ocean, so besides a bunch of fish, not too many creatures had to deal with it. Back to you in the studio.
I never knew that about hurricanes.
Me too. Hurricanes are really dangerous. Did you know that soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world?
Yeah, actually, it is my favorite sport.
Now we have Bree to tell us about soccer.
Thanks, Emily. Soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world. More than 200 countries play it, and over 250 million people enjoy the game. Some people say soccer has been played for thousands of years. A long time ago, the Aztecs played a game with a rubber ball, and people in China may have played a similar game over 2,000 years ago. The 1970 FIFA World Cup was a big soccer tournament held in Mexico. It was special because it was the first World Cup shown on TV in color. In the final game, Brazil played against Italy and won 4-1. This was Brazil's third time winning the World Cup, so they got to keep a special trophy called the Jules Rimet Trophy forever. Brazil had some of the best soccer players ever, like Pele and Tostão. Their team was young, fast, and worked well together. Many people still think the 1970 Brazil team was one of the best teams in soccer history. That's all for today. Thanks for listening and keep playing soccer. Back to you in the studio.
I didn't know people played soccer that long ago.
I know, right?
Hey Bree, do you like movies?
Yes, I have a lot of favorites, but my first one is Wicked. We have Emily telling us more about them.
Thanks, Bree. Hey there, do you want to learn about some of the most popular movies from the 1970s? Great, let's take a look at some of the biggest films from that decade. One of the most famous horror movies from the 1970s is Carrie. This film is about a shy teenage girl who is bullied at school. She later develops the power of telekinesis and uses it against her tormentors. Now let's talk about a movie that isn't a horror film but still has some emotional moments. The Muppet movie follows Kermit the Frog as he travels across the country with his Muppet friends. Kermit dreams of making it to Hollywood, but along the way he encounters a restaurant owner who wants to use him as a mascot for his frog-leg business. A different scary movie from the 70s is Jaws. This film is about a summer resort town that is terrorized by a great white shark. The town's police chief and marine biologist work together to hunt it down. Another interesting movie from the 1970s is Hair. This film tells the story of Claude, a young man from Oklahoma who is drafted into the Vietnam War. While in New York City, he meets a group of free-spirited hippies, falls in love with a girl named Shelia, and struggles with his identity and future. The last movie I have for you is Grease. You've probably heard of this one before. Grease is about a summer relationship between a sweet girl named Sandy and a greaser named Danny. They unexpectedly end up at the same high school and try to restart their relationship. Thanks for learning about the 1970s movies with me. Back to the studio.
Those are some great movies.
Yeah, I think they're really awesome. Do you want to learn more about nursing in the 1970s?
Yeah, sure.
Well, luckily, right now we have Gianna with nursing.
Thanks, Emily. Have you ever wondered what nursing looked like in the 1970s? Let's take a trip back in time. In the 1970s, becoming a nurse required a 4-year program. Nurses at the time earned about $140 per month, which is very different from today where they can make around $7,872 a month. Did you know that nurses in the 1970s wore white dresses, pinafore aprons, and a nurse's cap? That is very different from the scrubs they wear today. Fun fact, different scrub colors represent different healthcare jobs. For an example, red is blood collection and dark blue is for nursing. This shows how much nursing uniforms have changed in the last 55 years. Nursing technology has also improved a lot since the 1970s. One example of this is a stethoscope. Back then, stethoscopes were long and only came in a few colors. Today, they come in many different colors and styles. Nursing has changed a lot in many ways over the years, but the importance of the job has stayed the same. Do you think you have what it takes to become a nurse? Back to you in the studio.
Honestly, I don't think I have what it takes to be a nurse, but I bet Bree does.
Yeah, I think I'd be a great nurse.
Did you know that there was a really old video game console called Atari?
No, I actually did not, but good thing we have Melody reporting on video games right now.
Thank you, Bree. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melody Jascott, and today I'm going to be talking about video games. Video games in the 1970s were very different from what we have today. Now, we can play games on our phones, tablets, and computers, but back then, people had to use special game consoles. You've probably heard of the game Pong before, but did you know that it wasn't actually the most popular game of the 1970s? The most popular game was Space Invaders, which is still played by many people today. The most popular video game console of the 1970s was called Atari. It was similar to Nintendo, but worked differently. When people played Atari, they could only play one game at a time. If they wanted to play a different game, they had to buy a whole new console. Video games have come a long way since the 1970s, but many of the old games are still fun to play today. That's all for my news story on video games. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, Atari seems so cool.
I want one of those. Did you know that music plays a big role in video games?
No, I didn't, but now we have Liam here to tell us about music in the 70s.
Thanks, Bree. Back in the 1970s, music was incredibly popular, with genres like rock, disco, funk, and soul taking over the airwaves. Legendary artists such as Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Queen, and the Bee Gees gained worldwide fame and left a lasting impact on music history. Unlike today, people in the 70s couldn't just open Spotify or YouTube to listen to their favorite songs. Instead, they played on vinyl records using record players. Some even had large gramophones with big gold horns. Cassette tapes were another way to listen to music. Many people carried around boom boxes to blast their favorite tunes. And of course, there were no iPhones. Those weren't invented until 2007. But music wasn't something you just listened to at home. Live concerts were a huge part of the 1970s music scene. Many fans packed into arenas to see their favorite bands perform in person. And legendary artists like Led Zeppelin put on legendary shows that people still talk about today. That's all from me on music. Now back to you in the studio.
Wow, Liam, you made me like music even more.
Personally, my favorite music is Pearl Jam. What about you, Bree?
My favorite is rap and country.
What a fun show today. Thanks for coming along on our journey through the 1970s.
I agree, that was so much fun. I learned a lot.
Thanks for watching WMTS News. See you next time.